right, what is going on, guys? It is Adam, a.k.a. Marf, and this is Marfoogle News. Today, we have a ton to go over, including a 16-mile wide asteroid, and then, of course, all of the current events that are going on with Ukraine and Russia. So stick around. We'll be right back right after this. Nothing in this show should be considered legal, medical, or financial advice. The views of the callers can differ considerably and do not necessarily reflect my opinion, Dex's opinion, or anyone else who works with the show. You should always do your own research and consult with professionals. The internet is full of fake news, so please take everything with a grain of salt. If you have not already, it helps us out if you end up going through any of our affiliates, and it helps you out if you end up protecting yourself against cybercrime. Nordvpn is one of the best and one of the easiest to use. If you do not have a virtual private network, it protects your IP address, which is your online identity, which actually connects to your real address and everything else. It also connects to you. If you know anything about how they are data logging and basically getting your profiles down, you can prevent that by having a VPN. Nord is, again, one of the easiest. Download it. It's like an on switch and off switch. All you have to do. Go to marfooglenews.com/VPN. Not only will you get a giant discount on this, but you will also be helping us. I appreciate your support, and I appreciate everyone that goes through any of our affiliates. Can't say thank you enough.
Everyone wants a key, doing what they're doing. It's my planet, it's yours, it's ours to ruin. And boom, 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 boom.
All right. What is going on, guys? It is Adam, a.k.a. Marf, and this is Marfoogle News. So, if you've never been here before, I just want to remind everyone that if you follow us over on marfooglenews.com, you will see that you can not only sign up for our notifications, but you can also follow along with all of the articles. Every single article, tweet, video, picture, document that we're going to show here, we make sure that we give you a bibliography so you know exactly where those sources are. Again, we try to make sure that all of the information that we have is available to you over on marfooglenews.com. That way you are secure in where it is coming from. Now, if you go over there, you'll see it's very easy to navigate. It is all done by thumbnail, end of Earth, 16 miles wide. Once you click on that thumbnail, it will bring you to every single article, tweet, video, picture, document that we have here. And then on top of that, there is even more. Once you hit a big yellow bar called web-only content, that is the stuff that is too hot for TV, too far to one direction for us to cover and stay neutral. Or the stuff that is essentially getting people knocked off for, that is all down at the very bottom. There is a lot there right now because it is absolutely insane what is happening in the world. At the very bottom, we'll explain that later with Dex at the very end of the show. And then, of course, over on the right side, if you do want to support, if there's things that you already need, like if you need to get long-term survival prep, there are links there over on the right side, like My Patriot Supply. All of those boxes are affiliate links. That means that essentially when you go purchase through them, most cases you will actually get a discount and you'll be helping the channel at the same time. Otherwise, though, the biggest way you can help us is to share this out with a friend or family member that you know, or a coworker, anybody that you know that would actually appreciate having a big group of people talking about these subjects without judgment. All right, and then Ryan Hara, Neil Bailey, Ninja Squirrel, thanks for the early support because I know it's going to be a good show. Hey, thank you so much. Jeff Gonzalez and Phil Bartlett, welcome to the Foogle fam. And then Anthony Michael Kerr just subscribed about 21 seconds ago, so thank you. And then let's bring in my co-internet brother, Dex James. What is going on, and how are you doing today?
Well, hello, Adam, and hello, Foogle fam. I am doing just fine.
So we have so much to go over. Of course, there are 2 secret voids in the Giza Pyramid were discovered that could hide mythical pharaoh. It says a band of plucky archaeologists have found new secret spaces inside the Great Pyramid of Giza. It says in Egypt that could be the tomb of course, the mythical pharaoh. It says the 2 new voids were only discovered due to scientists working with a ridiculously powerful scanner that they intend to apply within the complex. The Great Pyramid of Giza is the oldest of the 7th wonders of the world and is likely built over a period of 27 years in the 26th century BC. It was dedicated to the pharaoh of Khufu, who ruled over Egypt at the time and took 2.3 million blocks to make. So the pyramids in general always have made a lot of folks question because of how well they were done, and knowing how they originally looked, possibly covered in this smooth limestone, and it was absolutely perfect. They still don't think that we could do this today with our today's technology. That is how incredible it is. If even one stone was a centimeter off, it would have messed up the very top of it. So anyone who's done studies into this or gone down this rabbit hole, it is incredible. That's why they believe that UFOs or aliens came down and gave us ancient technology that we still don't have to be able to do this, or some sort of knowledge on how to do it. People didn't understand how these blocks were moved. Of course, obviously the running narrative is that they had a ton of forced labor doing this. And then, of course, in all the shows and in all the biblical stories that you see them using logs and rolling the bricks along. But when you really see these in real life, they are incredibly huge. It's just unbelievably massive. So it's an incredible sight to see. And as far as having a possible new secret void, that's incredible. That's something that is just mind-boggling. Anybody that has done research into these knows that they have these secret pathways and tunnels where the kings or pharaohs were buried, and it's really, really cool. They even had traps straight out of Indiana Jones. So this is pretty cool. It says the archaeologists believe that the one of the voids is between 98 feet long and 20 feet wide. They hope that fresh scans will reveal the actual purpose of the chambers. Archaeologists from Cornell University said in their study that we plan to field a telescope system that has upwards of 100 times the sensitivity of the equipment that has recently been used at the Great Pyramid. So think about this, though, too. There's probably treasure in there of some sort. Or if there is a room that, they still have not found, it would have ancient treasure from those times, gold, whatever, jewels, gems. It would be like an encapsulated, it would be a time capsule, which most of the other caverns that they've already discovered are. But even the ones that they did discover, a lot of the stuff got stolen prior. Even when the first people that were, discovering this stuff to put it into museums and things, there were already thieves that came through and got a lot of the stuff, and some of that has been recovered, but there are still missing objects from this. So it is pretty insane stuff as far as when you go into the entire Egypt and back in the days of before Christ. It says, since the detectors that are proposed are very large, they cannot be placed inside the pyramid. Therefore, our approach is to put them outside and move them along the base. Pretty crazy. Now, I want to remind everybody that this tonight is a call-in show. It is Wednesday. Make sure to get down and call that number, 2244-006273. That's, again, 2244-00-MARF. That number is going to be scrolling right here after that call-in right there, and you'll be able to call in. If you have information about, of course, Russia, Ukraine, or of any of the articles that we talk about here tonight, give us a call. Of course, we would love to hear it. Anything that you are allowed to share, please do, because everybody needs to be filled in at this point. And then we have a comet named single most dangerous object to humanity is 16 miles wide. It says a comet twice the size of the one that the dinosaurs comes dangerously close to Earth once in a while. It says every year stargazers get out to their telescopes with the excitement to watch the Perseids meteor shower in July and in August, and Comet Swift-Tuttle is to thank. The Perseids, which appear to us as beautiful shooting stars lighting up the night sky, is really an enormous stream of space debris that our Earth has periodically passing through. This stream extends for more than 15 million kilometers through space and is the product of the comet Swift-Tuttle. Swift-Tuttle is a periodic comet that orbits our sun every 133 years, and comets are cosmic snowballs of frozen gases, rock, and dust. According to NASA, never a straight answer, it says they're made of leftovers from the formation of the solar system. When a comet approaches the sun, it forms a tail made of gas and dust particles that face away from the large star. Swift-Tuttle was discovered independently by both Lewis and Swift and Horace Tuttle in 1862. So 16 miles wide. It says there are currently 3,743 known comets in our solar system, but Swift-Tuttle is the most concerning. It says that this comet, it is estimated to have a nucleus of about 16 miles across, twice the size of the Chicxulub impactor, the asteroid that took out the dinosaurs. The Swift-Tuttle also follows a very steep orbit around the sun, which contributes to its quick-moving speed of about 36 miles per second. In fact, the comet is moving 4 times faster than the Chicxulub did when it impacted Earth, according to Space.com. It says, and it will likely be considered dangerous for 10,000 to 20,000 years, after which its orbit will likely deteriorate so that it will either fall into the sun or be thrown out of the solar system. So one thing that I want to point out, and this is one of my crazy theories, I know that almost all of you have something that you've tried to tell friends and family members, and they just look at you like you're totally nuts, or they go, okay, you lost me there. In fact, I just talked to my mother-in-law. I talked to her about the show, the documentary Ukraine on Fire, which of course Dex, of course somebody kept bugging Dex to watch it, and then Dex watched it, and then we watched it. Great documentary. It definitely feeds a lot of information, and it's really good. Nowadays, though, when you tell anybody to watch anything, they're like, oh. You have to tell them it has sources, it has back, it actually has information. Nobody believes anything. But when I told her, she goes, I said it was something else about Ukraine, and they started talking about trafficking. And she, trafficking, you lost me there. Because people have been trained that once you start talking about that, then it's on this, tinfoil hat thing. If people realize how much of the trafficking that actually happens, they wouldn't be saying that. Like, that's not a crazy tinfoil hat thing. That's not UFO. That's not ancient Egyptian zombies or something. That's something that happens. There are real victims of it, and it's a horrific thing. But once you go that way, people just lose. So I want to tell you my theory on this, and this is something that I believe, and that I, for a long time, I didn't want to get made fun of, but for the last couple of years, I have not really cared at all, because I think that something is going to happen as far as this goes. I know that there are some of you that do not believe in anything out there, and I get it. But as far as I see a lot of the things that are happening and a lot of the patterns that are behind most of the things they're showing us in the front, and I think that there is something to do with meteors. I know for a fact we've talked to somebody, we vetted their position. They audit U.S. government transactions, and they saw things come across their desk that was cleanup for a debris for something from a Class 2 gas giant. And it was a massive amount of money, something that even the current Ukraine crisis or anything has seen. So I just wonder that, as far as all of the things that have happened in the last few years, all of the missions, all of the Hayabusas, all of the OSIRIS-REx, all of the DART, the Hammer, the DART mission with hitting the Didymos, sending all of the samples to the moon, all of a sudden, all of the rich buying up rocket companies like it is going to be the Don't Look Up. Like, Don't Look Up is a true story or something. I mean, it sounds nuts. But what if Don't Look Up is just like a big joke to everybody that knows, and they're like, well, we'll just put it right in their faces. In fact, they used real things in that movie. There was things that coincided with the T-Man administration. Our last president, there are things that actually line up, and it's like, the only thing that didn't happen is a woman coming out and saying that this happened, right? That movie said, based on real events that haven't happened, and then ... and then next scene it says yet. That makes it almost makes it so when somebody does say it, they're like, oh, yeah, like, Don't Look Up, right? Whenever you want to hide the truth, a really good way to do it is to basically hide a needle in a stack of needles, so you have all the information on the side. If you actually look at some of the stuff that we have done and really step back and look at it, You're like, why are we trying to get to Mars? Why are all of these CEOs leaving in the last couple years? Why are they all leaving their jobs? You're talking about 26-year-old CEOs that have, 15, 20 years of just making millions and millions of dollars. They could easily just, sit on their butts and make millions, and they're all leaving. It was called the CEO Exodus of 2020 and 2021. It even happened back in 19. It's like all of them just left their post and they didn't go to another job. Why did they all just sell all of their stocks? You could say, oh, well, they're preparing for a crash. Maybe they're preparing for a different kind of crash. So this is one thing that I don't care if people think I'm crazy. A lot of you actually do believe that we are in some sort of debris field. And I think that, again, the other day is a perfect example of why that this isn't something that is controlled, right? There was an asteroid that just hit the other day where they discovered it 2 hours before it hit. And then when you start looking at the numbers of all of the reports for all of the meteor sightings, they have quadrupled and they have actually gone up every year for the last 4 years. And it starts getting put together, and you're like, well, it kind of all happened at the same time after this whole solar observatory shut down, and they came in with Black Hawks for one single dude that was apparently on the computer doing bad stuff. They even shut down the local post office, make sure that no letters go out or no files get shipped out to other people. I don't know. They also shut down the whole neighborhood. They questioned every single person. So, again, for those same people that don't believe in trafficking, it's like, well, if you do believe stories like that, then how are you not believing in that? But if you do believe that story, then I don't know. Why did the other 5 solar observatories shut down at the same time? Did they find something? Remember, the Chicxulub, they believe, came from the sun's direction. It's harder to see huge asteroids coming from the sun's direction. So if there was something to come from that direction, that is, of course, something that would hit us before we even know. One thing I also want to put in there is FEMA and, of course, NASA and all of these others have done these drills for mock situations of evacuating New York because of an asteroid, right? And they tested it and they said that they failed horribly. If it really happened, they have no way to really deal with it. And that's if they have 6 months of leeway. So another point too, there's tons. There's really a ton of stuff that are real factoids in the world, and you're like, why are they doing this? Why are all the rich buying these rockets and trying to get off Earth? Why are they trying to start a government in space? Look it up, Asgardia. They're doing all of the right things. They're signing all of the papers. They're making essentially a government in space. And you're thinking, well, it's because there's going to be space tourism. Or it will be in space. Very, 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 very weird stuff. So if you have anything to add to this, or if I missed something that I've talked about before, let me know. But as far as these, them saying that they're going to go to Mars, and then, of course, down here on Earth, they're saying that our natural resources may run out in as little as 20 years. So is it an escape hatch? Why is it even joked about? Why are real mainstream articles actually asking Elon Musk if he's making an escape hatch for the rich? Don't know. Maybe think about that in perspective of everything that's gone on about if you really do believe that maybe some of this was to control and to figure out a system to be able to control everybody, keep everybody separated, keep them in their homes, things like that. If you do believe that way, then it would almost give more credence to what they would be preparing for, right? Think about it. In the future, if anything happened like this, all they would have to do is a repeat, and then they would be able to locate and basically separate everyone. As far as the chances of this one hitting, it says every 133 years, the comet comes several million miles within Earth's orbit. It last entered our inner solar system in December of 1992 and is not expected to come back until 2126. It says when it will be within 14.2 million miles of Earth, with an apparent magnitude of 0.7. And it says, well, these figures don't worry scientists. The issue is that it's hard to be 100% rule out impact. Every time the comet enters our inner solar system, there's a chance that one of the glass giant planets will influence its orbit, putting it on a trajectory towards Earth. So just think about that. Once it comes back in, one of the gas giants basically swings it around and does some sort of, swings it right in. What would you call that? More like a slingshot, and slings it right into our planet. Do they know about something like that? Is that why, of course, Jeff Bezos and all of the richest folks are focused more on rockets than buying land? Don't know. And then, of course, Bill and everybody else, they are buying up everything on Earth. It's like, it would almost make some sense, right, of some of this that is happening. What do you think? Let me know in the comments below. I would love to hear from you. 2244000 Marf. If you know specifically anything about the asteroids, and of course, if you have insider information on that, I would love to hear from you for sure. All right, and then we have massive fire in Gulf's Walmart distribution center near Indianapolis. So if you've seen the video of this, it's pretty shocking. Even zoomed out, this thing is absolutely massive. And I'm talking massive. This isn't a Walmart. This is a Walmart distribution center. So imagine like 20 Walmarts put together. This thing is absolutely ginormous. And it was on fire like crazy. The response, I believe, was from all over the state. And I believe they were even asking for outside. It says a massive fire at the Walmart distribution center northeast of Indianapolis is sending a large plume of smoke into the air. The Plainfield Fire Department posted photos of the fire on its Facebook page around 1:30 p.m., showing the entire roof engulfed in fire. In Indianapolis reported the smoke, it was so thick that it was being picked up on weather radar. There was no word if there was any injuries or what may have caused the fire to start at the facility located at 9590 All Points Parkway. Another thing, if you have video of this, we have marfooglenews.com/playmyvideo. If you are local and you went out and got video of this yourself, I would love for you to send that video to us because we would love to show an angle that is not anywhere else. Liz LaMarche says Wormwood equals 3/4 of planet destroyed. Top of the evening, family. Thank you, Adam Dex Mods, and shout out to DM Walken. Roll on. Hey, Liz LaMarche, thank you for your support, and thank you for supporting Independent. Nika Talaka, thank you so much as well for being a loyal Foogle fan member and supporting us. And then Cody Gwynn, Tay Vaughn, Isaac Haney, and Amazing Giants. Thank you, everybody that just subscribed. Tay Vaughn and Isaac Haney. And then Amazing Giants, thank you for the support. One Hocking Hills Bushcraft, thank you for subscribing as well. And then Lynn Heistruffer says, thanks for all you do. Hey, well, thank you for being here. Global Witness, and again, you don't have to do that. I never catch you live. I've got to return the favors. It says, folks, if you eat from the table of Marfoogle, please support, donate. You don't have to do that, but as you know, it's super important that everybody shares. So yeah, tell them to share in the chat. And then Ninja Squirrel, thanks again. As far as the Walmart, the situation has further gone. We'll update it on tomorrow's show. It says 200-mile-per-hour bullet train derailed as a massive 7.3 quake rocks Fukushima nuke plant. Now, if you watched my earlier video, I actually did it about 8 a.m. this morning. About 25 minutes after this earthquake happened, I was live on Marfoogle News talking about this. It ended up being a massive 7.3 earthquake. As we said, that it could be reduced or changed, and it was, but not as it was not downgraded like we thought it was going to be. It was downgraded by 1 point. At first, they were saying 7.4, and then of course it was now 7.3. Anything above a 7 is over a minute long. As far as the magnitude, to put it in perspective, if you've ever been to Seattle, we had a 6.3. And it wreaked havoc in Seattle. But they said if it was a 7.0, if it was just 60 seconds long, the entire waterfront, all of the front half of downtown would have fallen off and slid into the water. They would have had fires. Basically, the entire downtown Seattle area would have been destroyed and in the water. That's how bad they said. The viaduct, when it was there, it would have all just rolled right into the water. That's big, and this one was bigger than that. It's exponential when you're talking about earthquakes. It says that the 7.3 earthquake has struck Fukushima nuclear plant and has shaken Tokyo for 2 minutes, triggering a tsunami warning. A Japan Meteorological Agency has released a warning for over 3-foot tsunami in the coast of Miyagi and Fukushima. Now, this is updated, I believe. So, again, we'll update this here in a second. But agency said that the quake struck 36 miles below the sea. A high-speed bullet train traveling up to 200 miles per hour derailed amid the massive tremor, according to Japanese officials and reported by Japanese news NHK. It says that the train was between Fukushima and the city of Shiroshi and less than 19 miles away when it derailed with around 100 passengers on board. No one has reported to be injured in the derailment so far, according to the East Japan Railways. So I don't understand how anybody was not injured if it was going 200 miles an hour. And this is one of the things that I don't think has ever happened with a bullet train. So one thing that, everybody in the U.S., we don't have something like Japan yet, but all the countries are trying to work on a bullet train kind of system. They want to have maglev trains. This is all in the next 10 years, if we even have a planet by then. It would be maglev trains, and these bullet trains would be something that's normal. A 7.3 ended up derailing it. So I'm actually surprised. Most things in Japan are designed to take anywhere up to 8.6 earthquakes. In fact, when the 9.0 plus hit in 2011, their buildings did extremely well because they were designed with an 8.6 in mind. In fact, many people do not know, but when Japan happened in 2011, when that big 9+ earthquake happened, they did not know that was possible. That was another subduction zone that essentially popped out of nowhere, and they had no idea that it was actually capable of a 9.0. It's the same thing that we are looking at on the West Coast, only the West Coast, over the last 300 years since the last 9+ earthquake that we had, and tsunami, a guaranteed tsunami, we built entire civilizations all along the coastline of the entire line of where this thing's going to happen. So I wonder if they're thinking about that as far as the plans that are going into place as far as what is going to be built on the West Coast, looking at this example. Tokyo Electric Power Company said that around 2 million households were without power, according to NHK, and TEPCO also said in a tweet that it was checking operations at the Fukushima nuclear plant that went into meltdown 11 years ago after a huge 9.0 magnitude quake and tsunami hit off of the eastern coast. Japan's Nuclear Regulation Authority confirmed that 2 water pumps stopped working in a spent fuel pool at the Fukushima Daiichi plant. A fire alarm was also heard at the Fukushima Daiichi plant following the earthquake. So it was a huge, huge event. As far as, let's see if I wanted to see if we have an update on as far as what happened with the tsunamis here. And then as far as, thank you everybody that just popped in. Thank you guys. Over 5,500. Be Real Beast. Did you replace your smoke detector battery? Stay safe. God bless. Yes, long time ago. And then Hugh Bramlett. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. Okay, so let's see here. That's funny. Let's see. So we should get... yeah, so the current, as of now, as of 7:58 p.m. on March 16th, they are saying that it took the life of at least 4 and injuring over 90. Now it looks like it could be up to 104. Some are saying 90, some are saying 94. So this was a giant earthquake. Here is one of the images that I saw posted. Massive, massive earthquake. If you do not live in Japan or anywhere that does not have earthquakes, you don't know how scary these things are. The one most terrifying part about these is that they just happen. I have been, I want to say 4 earthquakes, 2 of them being larger earthquakes. One of them, the ground dropped underneath us. It's the freakiest feeling in the world. Anybody that lives in California knows what one feels like. Most people, on the West Coast know what they're like. If you're in Oregon or Washington, you've been through several. But they are just scary because you do not know when they're going to happen. This is why preppers prep, not just because, the end of the world or, all of these different crazy agendas or anything. We prepare for things like this. The earthquakes that happen, if we get the one that's going to hit the USA, it will change the USA forever. If we have, when we have the 9.0, which is now overdue, it is going to destroy, 3 states. We're talking about damage that humans have never seen. With Japan in 2011, that was one thing because they were one of the most designed places to actually take earthquakes because they have a lot of earthquakes. They are actually in a place that gets them all the time. So all of their skyscrapers, everything that they built was to code. They signed blank checks to make sure that they would be able to handle earthquakes. On the West Coast, on the other hand, the USA has done things where they don't fix things until they're broken. We have basically, Chris Goldfinger said that we are on a scale from 1 to 10. We are not even to a 1 in preparedness here in Washington. So if you can imagine, when we have a 40, 50, 60, 125-foot wave is what the Navy base is ready for, that's going to wipe out pretty much everything. Think about that. Do you have video of this that you took personally? I know that we do have viewers over there, so please send it in, Marfoogle News /play my video. Penelope and Candace B, I appreciate that. Hugh Bramlett, thank you as well. And then Ray Regine and Jim Dunbar, thank you for subscribing just 9 minutes ago. We're going to be going over to the calls here in a second. I do want to remind you the number is 224400 Marf. Thank you, King5583. Thank you for the Ninja Guinea. Says, I lost my purple badge. I am so sorry. Again, they've made it more difficult for people to gift them, I've heard. But and then Zippy Moons, if you haven't already, get stocked, prep up, prep. Click the prep link. Wayne was awesome to work with. Hey, thank you so much, Zippy Moons, and thanks for all of your support and sticking with us like every show. Miss Jackson 906, but over 20 Blackhawks airborne Enterprises over Alabama. So lots of very strange air action. My wife and I have both been following the flight radar, and it is really crazy. It looks like they're preparing for WW3. Just telling you what it looks like. Lisa K23, King5583. Again, thank you. Anyone look at flight radar lately? Lots of military airborne. Yes. And I think it's going to stay that way, and I hope that we don't have a worst case scenario. Vicky K, thank you as well. Truth Wins, and then Skyhouse, Cat's Meow, and the Useless Eater, thank you. Cookielicious, and I Love Jesus. Irish American Patriot, and then Truth Seeker. Thank you, everybody that just popped in. All right, and it looks like we have Jessica, a.k.a. Geographically Free, and we have a link to go with this about cyber attack. So let's get Jessica, a.k.a. Geographically Free, on the line. And then while Dex is getting her in here, we will load what she wants to talk about. And it looks like she's coming in now. Nigel's view on thing. Hey, it's been a long time since I've seen you. Snafu, what's going on? Air traffic Let's see here. Scott from OZ, Bear Lover. Thank your mods for keeping it peaceful in the chat. Enterprise, Alabama is where Fort Rucker is. The Army trains helicopter pilots there. Well, then that would answer your question of why there's so many Blackhawks there, right? And then we are doomed, unfortunately, and it's always about currency. Z-Man Productions, it's always about the money. But I don't know. What if it was beyond money at this point, where it was about population and it was about survival and being rich, right? All right, and then Dex, do we have Jessica?
Yes, Jessica's live.
All right, you are live on Marfoogle News. Jessica, how are you doing?
I'm well. Hi, Marf. Hi, Foogle fam. So the strangest thing happened. I got an email from a family member, and she had mentioned that her son's school called or sent an email saying that there was a cyber attack from one of the largest milk producers in the country, and that they would not be getting milk from them, and that they had to substitute until they could find another vendor. And I couldn't find anything online, and then I finally did. So it's out of Boston, the link that is going to be on marfooglenews.com. That confirms the email that she received. And so they said it was a significant cyber attack with HP Hood. Now, Dex told me he'd never heard of HP Hood, so I had to look it up. He said, well, maybe it's regional. And it is regional to the Northeast, but it is one of the largest dairy producers in the country. They have like 14 plants around the country. They're $1 billion company. And they said it was pretty significant, and it's completely shut down operations there till I don't know when.
Well, I know.
Sorry, go ahead.
Well, no, I know that there's a ton of cyber events. Right now, there's one of the largest cyber conflicts going on that we've ever seen. Now, since the other day I mentioned it, I mentioned in fact, I'll pull up the video in the background, but there was a video that went viral, over 1 million views. It's a gamer / kind of, he's in the hacking community, or at least he's respected by some of them. The comments under his video are telling too. But after he did that, I shouted it out. We got messages from all over the place, and we have many pieces showing that companies are being hacked like crazy. And we can't necessarily say it's all Russia, but of course that's probably part of it. China could be a part of it. Any of our enemies right now, including the ran to the store, all of these countries are pissed off right now. So something massive is going on, and a lot of it is being kind of pushed under the rug.
Yeah, I noticed because I thought it would be a national story, and maybe it will be later, but I thought it was very interesting that nobody was talking about it.
No, they want to minimize all of this. They want to point you to, of course, Ukraine or Russia. They want you to, hate a certain person or do this or do that. But they don't want you. Here's the thing: when they tell you things like that, that makes you insecure, and then that makes the market go down. I guess it depends on what they're trying to do. I'm sure there are some out there when they want to control the market, or they want it to smash down so they can buy. I'm sure that they will probably tell you something like that. But when they're ready to sell, or they want it to go up, it's lots of speculation goes into the market. So I assume they don't want to tell you about all this. That is a huge company, though. It looks like on my other screen here that they make pretty much. I mean, I probably drank their milk when I was a kid. They make those little 8-ounce containers of the milk, and it's a massive producer.
They also own Almond Breeze, which is like one of the biggest almond milk producers.
Oh, so I know what you're talking about.
Probably it might affect that too. I don't know, but
so
I thought I would pass along.
Hold on. Let me pull up this largest, and anybody you can find this Dex, if I can. If you look up largest cyber war in history, I think. It's one of the first. Yeah, it's the first video. It is by some ordinary gamers, and it is the largest cyber war in history is happening right now. Now, he talks about it, and he does it in kind of almost an entertaining way. By the way, if you can, go over and say hello to this guy. I'm not going to play his stuff to be respectful, but this guy is pretty funny, actually, and he covers some really odd stuff, and sometimes he goes into, like he did a whole video on the EAS alerts. It was like,
Really?
Yeah, it was incredible. He basically played all of these different web videos of these, but he's also in the gaming community, and he talked about this. And this is something that we've been talking about for a long time. These cyber events are going to be big, and eventually they are going to destroy. So people need to be prepped up and get ready for it. So again, yeah, I definitely think that you brought something up that people should know.
What's the name of that gamer's YouTube channel?
It is Some Ordinary Gamers, all one word. And he's a huge YouTuber. Yeah. He's over 3 million subscriber, but you'll see he's just his whole personality is funny, and he's just I've only watched about 3 or 4 of his videos because he cracked me up, but he did have a serious tone on a few of them, and you can tell that he is genuinely, I think that he's kind of part of this community, but he obviously does gaming and things for his channel, but you can see he sometimes does this stuff where he's going off into our niche. So yeah, that video is really really good. Well, Jessica, aka Geographically Free, is there anything else you would like to say before you go?
No, that's it. It was great to talk to you, and I'm really glad to be in your time zone right now because I'm from the Northeast, but we're traveling, and so now I don't fall asleep in the middle of your show. So I'm really excited about that.
And
thanks for chatting, and I'll be listening.
All right. Well, Geographically Free, and again, we'll do earlier shows too. So we plan on doing at least one a week coming up. That was one of the plans. So thank you so much, and thank you for calling in with that. We'll make sure that it is available on our website. All right. Bye-bye. And then Jessica's article that she put in will be added to our bibliography of sources on our website. Hood cyber attack may mean milk shortage for school lunches. So I don't know where they're going to post the lost kids, but we'll see. Hugh Bramlett, again, make sure to go check out this channel. Tell him the Foogle fam sent you. Tell him, Adam from Marfoogle. He really cracks me up. I think that he just gets on camera and does what he does. But again, I've only seen about 3 or 4 of his videos. I ended up watching this one, and then I watched one on EAS alerts, which he mentioned in this first video. But yeah, I think that it opened up a lot of his audience's eyes to what we've been talking about for a while. Colonial Pipeline, we had major infrastructure go down. We've had many attacks. We had the Microsoft attack that affected hospitals. We had attacks that affected our 911 system. Europe had a system that affected their GPS and all of their emergency alert system. And then, of course, we had all of these weird alerts that they said were accidental, like back from Hawaii. If you followed my channel, I went in and I followed from Hawaii, which I still don't think was an actual fake alert. Then right after that, Japan had an EAS alert. In fact, specifically a missile alert that was not. It was fake, or they said that it was an accident. And then they had many all over the country. And some of us thought maybe that they were practicing or drilling and seeing how people would respond to a real alert that wasn't real. Benjamin, Barry Prince, thank you for subscribing. Paul Simpson, William Childs, I appreciate you. Marianne Spinelli. But yeah, Some Ordinary Gamers, we'll put the link over on marfooglenews.com. All right, and then White House stands firm on the opposition to no-fly zone over Ukraine despite Zelensky plea. So a lot of people watched Zelensky's very heart-wrenching speech. In fact, even my mother-in-law said, "Did you see his speech?" And it was right after I said, "You do know that he was an actor, right? Like he played a president on TV, and he actually, in this show, he did some very like moving speeches." One thing that I think that gets past people is that when they see somebody, especially it's not even in their language, but when they see somebody that is really good at kind of pulling off, these inspirational speeches, you have to realize the guy is a professional actor. Have you ever seen a show where they do these kind of speeches for the football team, or they're giving this speech and it actually makes you, even if you're watching a fictional movie, it makes you feel good. It gets you all pumped up. He is a professional actor. So all I'm saying is there's a chance that it could be, a little bit scripted, right? And that it has an emotional outcome that you get into it, right? I guess people need to realize that now all of Russia is just completely cut out of the picture. You can't get anything from one side of a story. I think you should look at both sides of the story. You don't have to carry anybody's water or be a Russian bot to want to be able to see both sides of a story. And I think that a lot of people are kind of opening their eyes to some of the stuff that's going on. Because I do believe they may want to get us into WW3. They may want it. Maybe that would check off some of the boxes of some of the things that are going on. Maybe they need to reduce a certain number of us on Earth, and maybe this would accomplish that. Who knows? It says the White House said Wednesday that it continues to stand in opposition to a no-fly zone over Ukraine as the country fights back against Russia, suggesting that the move would have repercussions that would send the United States into World War III. Ukrainian President Vladimir Zelensky requested during an address to the Congress Wednesday that the U.S. agree to a no-fly zone over his country. White House Press Secretary Jen said that the administration is, quote, not interested in getting into WW3. So, and we've seen, it really looks like it's going to happen at some point because everything that they have requested, and then the whole world rallies. And here's another thing. So, Dex, I don't know if you're free yet, but if they just announced that they're basically working with TikTok. And it's funny, for the last 3 weeks, we've been talking about how all of this, pro Ukraine, anti-Russia stuff has popped up on TikTok. And then just a couple weeks later, they admit that they're working with them. It's kind of like when they admitted that they were working with Facebook for, that day where everybody dropped the thing in the box and chose the prez, right? It's pretty odd timing there, right? It says...
well, and we certainly know they can program just about anything they want from TikTok to be viral, right? And they being the company that owns it, which is controlled and owned by China.
And the fact that it is, and then you start looking at kind of the accusations of what may have happened with 2020. It's kind of weird. And then Arizona Ice Queen, once again, please check Maverick Star Reloaded. Polar Shift, 40% by 323. Think William Shatner. Okay, so if you didn't get what Arizona Ice Queen meant there, so William Shatner accidentally said in an interview recently that there was a coming catastrophe. Dex, do you remember the quote that it was? It was like that... He said it like it was, he just found it out in a meeting the day before. That was the same day that Prince William came out and criticized Elon Musk and others for basically, he said, Prince William said, they should fix the earth first before they go off and escape it, right? So does William Shatner, who just did a flight to space the day before with Jeff Bezos, did they find out something? He said that there was a coming catastrophic event. Was that accidental slip up because he was excited? He just went on a plane up in the sky, or what? But polar shift by 323. So that is March of 2023. So that would be a year. I mean, I wouldn't surprise me at this point. You guys know what I feel about 2023, 2024, Deagle report, and all these weird things that have been put out. Michelle K, following City Prepper helps a lot. Hey, I think if that's the right channel I'm thinking about, he seems like a nice guy. Tartan Granny, Earth Woman, thank you. Cookielicious, and the end is near. Thank you, everybody that has just popped in. It looks like we did hit 6,000. Thank you, everybody, for stopping in. All right, and yeah, it just keeps getting wild, more wild than wild. What the 800 million U.S. security aid packages to Ukraine includes. President B on Wednesday approved an additional $800 million in security aid for Ukraine after the country's president, Volodymyr Zelensky, made a steering plea to members of Congress for help in repelling the 21-day Russian invasion. It includes missile defense systems, drones that Zelensky requested, but not the Polish MiG-29 fighter jets that the Kiev government was sought to help secure the skies. So this goes over what was given. It says 800 Stinger anti-aircraft systems, 2,000 Javelin anti-tank missiles, 1,000 light anti-armor weapons, and 6,000 AT-4 anti-armor weapons. So basically everything, how Jen said it in her press conference earlier, which we suffer through so you don't have to, not just because it's her, any of the formal press events, that a lot of them are quite boring to sit through, and we do all of them. Basically, she just kept saying that they were only giving them defensive weapons. And the thing that she fell back on today, which they always have something to fall back on, is the fact that the DOD does these risk assessments. She kept saying, well, you'll have to go to the DOD. They've done a risk assessment. They said that this will not piss off Russia. That's essentially the translation of it. I mean, Dex, would you disagree? I mean, that the risk assessment, right, is just saying that these defensive weapons will not start WW3. But if they sent the MiG-29s, that it would.
Yeah, well, I guess that's what they're trying to tell us, right? That you can't do a no-fly zone and you can't send MiGs, but we can do anything else, and he'll be fine with that.
And it said the package also includes more than 20 million rounds of small arms ammunition, 100 drones, reportedly Switchblade Kazis, and then 100 grenade launchers, 5,000 rifles, and 1,000 pistols. And then, of course, 400 machine, 400 shot, and more than 20 million rounds of ammunition. So they sent pretty much everything defensively. I wonder if some of this is going to get into civilians' hands, or if they're actually doing that, like the sets of body armor and everything else. Benjamin, Barry Prince, Jesse Ochoa. That sounds super familiar. Jesse Ochoa, thank you so much for subscribing. Rev Me, My Mustang 1111, thank you. CJ Cummings, and then Bon Secor says, hi, Adam and Dex, thanks for the info on the Snowpiercer. Much love and high five. Catherine Mayer, thank you for subscribing. Welcome. And then James Isaacson, thank you as well. Bible Talk 777 says, I've got CV. I feel like crap. Somebody shed on me. They're spewing this stuff out everywhere. It's coming back again. I don't think it ever went away. I get what you're saying, though. What is it? It's March. By summer, you know, most of it falls back. Benjamin, thank you so much. And then thank you for the 6,300 in chat. Into our next piece, Biden on Putin. It says, I think he is a criminal. So this was a big deal. Now, it looks like we have our caller on deck if you want to get them lined up after this piece, because it does look like next up will be Bones and Tubbs. And then Cole Cracker is on deck behind that. But Dex, do you want to go over as far as President B on Putin and him saying this. We talked about this last night or the night before, just me and you.
Yeah, the Senate came out 2 days ago and passed a resolution claiming him to be one. Unanimously passed it, which is rare for our Senate because they're so divided. And then today in his address, the current president used the same terminology and claimed that he is a conflict criminal. So of course, those are words right now. None of that, it doesn't necessarily mean anything until there's actually a trial of some sort where somebody gets tried for those types of crimes, right? But that is definitely the rhetoric that's being thrown around.
Yeah, so he's not formally charged, and I got text messages and DMs all over the place saying they just declared him this criminal, right? But they did not actually charge him. So they're just saying that, and then they, of course, put it through. It seems like it, but for most people like myself that don't follow this stuff close, I don't really understand how they actually try a criminal. How often do we do that? Do you know? I mean, like, how often do we actually try somebody to be a war criminal? I mean, I would think that the Nuremberg trials and things like that, right? Seems to me like, let's see here. I wonder how many trials of this kind of nature we've done. So right now, as of now, it's just words, but pretty much everything is just words right now because nobody knows what is actually happening. All right, and then I believe we missed this. Please, guys, if you have not already, make sure to go over and check out EMP Shield. If you want to protect yourself against an actual EMP, then make sure to go over to marfooglenewscom/EMP. If you want your car or any motor that you want to run after an EMP, you'll want to have an EMP shield wired in. The car version is about a 10-minute job to do, so anybody can do it. But of course, the house version, the generator versions, they have solar system versions. They have a solar generator version for the energy. They also have many other devices, including even a device that can protect your ham radio. You can go over to marfooglenewscom and check out all of the different devices they have. This is the same company that has worked with DoD, DHS, and of course now the DEMSO team. So make sure to go check them out. If you go through this link, you will get $50 off per device. And that is, again, marfooglenewscom/EMP. And then just a reminder, this also protects against solar events. It protects you against a Carrington level event or a CME. So that is something that is a guaranteed. It's just a when, not an if. All right, and then we have Catherine Mayer. Thank you so much for popping in. Thank you for subscribing. Lots of new people tonight. Thank you, everybody, for sharing this out. Stephen McMahon says, God bless all of you. Stay safe and stay healthy. Aim Higher Restoration Ministry, thank you for subscribing. Welcome. Welcome to the Foogle fam. Welcome to the Marfia. And then Justin Pearson, God Munns, and Demon Hunter, and, of course, Shiner K. Thank you. I don't know if somebody's, maybe Global is like shouting us out or something. I don't know. But thank you, everybody that is coming in. And then Russia, boom, to theater in Mariupol, supposedly, that... Dex, this is like exactly what I've been saying. It's just... oh my gosh.
Yeah, and the images, I mean, you could see in the image, there's, writing on the ground saying, basically saying, don't hit this target, right?
So what this translates to, there are two different places, and it says children. Okay, so for anybody that just joined us today and has never seen my show, I have talked about, and we've shown you all of the different articles that essentially involve children and that involve basically any the quickest way, kids and children is the quickest way to get an emotional response from a people. It is also the quickest way to get support for something. If somebody messes with our kids, we go off. So all I'm asking for people to do is actually look at the amount that they have thrown that in. It just a couple days ago, or it was the maternity hospital, but they actually called it a children's hospital, right? Not a birthing or a maternity hospital. They specifically called it children's hospital. Now, when anyone in the U.S. thinks of children's hospital, we think of children's hospital. We think of the place where they, essentially take in sick kids, and there's kids with cancer, and there's, thousands of kids in there, right? All I'm saying is when everything is written in the way it's written on purpose. So for this, which they say it was supposedly, they dropped stuff on it, do you think that Russia would have done that on purpose? Like, I know, I'm not by any means pro-Russian, but they literally wrote children outside, and, if it did happen, but get this, when it says this, it says, according to satellite images, this is going to get people pissed off. Just pay attention to the Ganda. Pay attention how they swing everything. Pay attention to the words they used. Jen, in her press conference, play that back. Go watch it and see how she talks about Putin. She always puts the brutal and unprovoked attacks of this and this and that. If you do some basic research, you'll see there some would say is some provoking there, and some would say it's not unprovoked. Some would say that it depends on what side you look at, and even on a conservative, look of it, there's definitely stuff on both sides that have gone wrong. It says the theater in Marfoogle, Ukraine, targeted in an alleged attack on Wednesday, had the word children written in large letters. Jeez. All right, let's get our next caller, Bones and Tubbs. Sky King from Saturday on a message board. What the heck? All right, Dex, let's get
Bones and Tubbs is live, Adam.
Bones and Tubbs, you're live on Marfoogle News.
Hey, Marv, how are you?
Hey, so Sky King, isn't that I've covered that before. That's like the message that, isn't that the board where they have kind of the messages for nuke things or something?
Yeah, I believe I learned it from your show, actually.
Yeah.
There's a DEF CON page on Telegram that just gives various updates of verified intel. And then they have a community page where people can post intel, and it can be vetted, or I guess, whatever. But Saturday, I went with my wife and my kids. We were going to Sam's Club on a prepper run, and it just started going crazy. People were talking, like posting links on, I can't remember the website, but it's like an online shortwave radio page, and they were posting various frequencies to listen to. And a lot of these guys who, I don't know them, but they claim to be veterans of amateur radio, said that they've heard, things like this off and on, over 30 years, but never back to back. And they said that it was going on for 3.5, 4 hours. And it was the craziest thing ever that they've heard. And this was all leading up, I believe it was 3 or 4 hours before the attack that happened in the ME from the people who ran to the store.
Where they hit the Polish border, right?
I think it was
the consulate.
I think it was yeah.
So these are,
and it was,
I pulled up a couple of there's videos of Sky King messages, and I feel like, and the thing is they're like a self-verifying. Oh, that's why somebody actually did a Sky King message. Dex, do you remember somebody did a Sky King message that said Marfoogle, and it got taken down immediately?
Yeah, that was on EAM Watch. I noticed they're not doing they're not listing Sky Kings anymore, at least not under their Sky King list. The last one was like 2019, so I remember they stopped at one point. So
it
sounds
might
like
have been
a lot of other
because
people are doing this elsewhere.
they were doing it to me. I was covering it, and somebody said, Marfoogle, stop talking. And they pointed it towards me. Yeah, no, they said it was a Sky King. Does anybody remember that? They said, Marfoogle, stop talking. And it was a Sky King message that actually went up on their board. And then the board members essentially removed it. And I think they stopped letting... It's something, because you have to be a part of it, or you have to be a part of the community. If anybody remembers that, put that in the chat below. It was wouldn't make it up. It's archived in our show. We went over that, and we went over the website, and basically they were saying shut up because I was talking about maybe Hawaii, or maybe Hot Musket or Troop Movement or something. I don't know. That's crazy.
Wow.
So basically there was a lot of crazy action, and then it just so happens that ran to the store, that Middle Eastern country that sent a missile over, happened after that. So maybe they are tied together. Maybe they were watching and they showed it. Pretty crazy.
I don't know. It was wild. Definitely wild. And that's the last time that I'll ever leave the house not concealed, if that makes sense.
Oh, yeah. No, I get you. Now, are you still making content, Bones and Tub Show?
We are. Yeah, we've kind of gone away from YouTube. All of our stuff can be found on any podcast app. But we've, not to say we've stopped on YouTube, but we've definitely taken a break. We had a few strikes. We had some crazy messages and threats, and we just kind of took a break from it.
Well, I've been there, done that. Well, thank you for calling in, Bones and Tubs, and I appreciate you guys. And we will leave a link so people can find you. Did you give a link to Dex?
Yeah. No, but we're on iTunes, Podbean, pretty much every podcast app you can find.
All right. Well, thank you, and you have a wonderful day, okay?
You too, buddy.
All right. Be safe. That was the Bones and Tub Show. Like he said, you can find them on any iTunes or, I guess, podcast listening service. Amused Viewer, thank you for joining us. Thanks for joining the Mafia. Thanks for subscribing. Nigel's view on things says we're in a situation where they aren't going to be any winners. Life is going to change, and not for the better. Distraction in play, much love and peace. Yeah, I agree with that. I don't think people kind of will understand how bad this could get. Justin True, Marf has accurately guessed future events many times over the past 5 years through data collection, perspective, and his large community. He has prepared many and possibly saved lives via preps. Well, I mean, I will say this. I think that if people did go out and get preps and, say, a local storm happened, that's a crazy thought to think about. But for over 4 years doing this, I guarantee you somebody's probably gotten preps and ended up having to use it. I'll also bet you somebody has probably passed that watched us from a storm, that wasn't prepared. So that's kind of a sad thing to think about too. Dare Master, Groundwork Flatland, thank you for being a part of the Foogle fam. Thanks for subscribing. Justin Pearson and everybody else that just keeps popping in. Thank you guys. All right, and over 6,500. Where are all of you guys coming from? We normally it's about 5,000, but not 6,000, 6,500. All right, and then before we move on, I do want to remind you right now, if you do want to get your stuff prepped, speaking of preps, may as well do this now. So this is more than just a plug. I do think that it makes a huge difference that all of our affiliates are something that we believe will either help you, will make your life easier, or something that very well could save your life. All of the affiliates, we try to make sure that you get a discount of some sort. With the Patriot Supply, you get $150 off, and you are helping our small channel at the same time. We are independent. We don't have a multi-channel network. We don't have a staff. We have volunteer mods, and then, of course, myself and Dex. So if you do want to get long-term survival food, this is our recommendation. And then again, this has everything in stock right now. That's one of the good things. They are a big enough company that they actually did not raise prices through all of CV, even though the demand has now skyrocketed and inflation has gone up. So we don't know how long they can keep their prices the same, but we do know this. They do get rid of those discounts when stuff goes really bad. So make sure to go over and head over marfooglenews.com/prep. They also have gadgets. They have survival books. Always recommended. When there will not be a Google, you may want to have things on hardback. You want to have books that actually have information. Books are things that as a child we used to open them and there are words inside. Most of you know that, though. I'm just talking to a couple of the 20 to 30-year-olds. It's spelled Books if you need to Google it. But then again, if we don't have Google, it gets complicated. marfooglenews.com/prep. Thank you. And then we have Russia claims parts of a peace deal are close to being agreed with neutral status for Kiev. Dex, what do you think about this? As far as what do you think the validity of this is? I think if anything that they're going to drag this on for way longer than this.
Well, yeah, and it depends on what the president of Ukraine wants to do, right? What he decides. He has said that he might consider not joining NATO as an option, but then today he's asking for arms, right? Like, give me everything you can give me because we're not going to do this. So it very well could be a option, and I would think that if somebody told him tomorrow all of this could end and everybody could go home and you could go back to the way it was, except you have to sort of stay out of interest from the east or the west and sort of play Swiss, that might not be a bad option when you think about the fact that there's a lot of lives that are it's costing them, and they've been through a lot of turmoil over the years, or over the centuries for that matter. So it wouldn't surprise me if they went that path, but it just doesn't seem like it, because we've heard this before. We heard this before it even started. All they had to do was say, "Hey, don't join NATO, and we'll be fine." And even Putin said from the beginning, like, just say that you're not going to be in NATO, and we're not even going to come across the border, right? And even our administration said, no, we're not going to tell them they can't be part of NATO, but they weren't saying they were going to be part of it either, right? They were just saying we're not going to speak for that country. They can speak for themselves. So, as opposed to just taking a position and saying, yeah, we'll agree to not let them in NATO so that we don't encroach any closer to Russia. So.
But here's the thing: once you look at it, it's like there's 13 different countries, and I think that went up, right? Since 2016, didn't it go up that more countries joined NATO, and possibly more are joining right now? There was at least 13 countries that joined NATO since they had this agreement.
All up against Russia's border there, everyone but Ukraine.
Which is pretty, that's kind of NATO it essentially has them surrounded, right? So I don't know. Everybody said it in the beginning too. What's funny is a lot of the stuff that kind of gets poo-pooed in the first week of things, and people kind of just throw a theory out there. It ends up circling back to it. And then Putin,
there was a time when, sorry, Adam, there was a time when Putin, I don't know if he was joking about it. This was many, many, many years ago. Said he wanted to join, Russia wanted to join NATO.
No, it wasn't a joke. He asked, and he talked.
Yeah, he asked, but it was sort of like that makes no sense, that the whole purpose of it is to protect against. But yeah.
Well, it was when Clinton was president. It was when it was Bill, right? Yeah. And
I knew it was a long time ago.
They laughed at him. I think they laughed at him. And then Putin loses general and SWAT team as hero of Russia warns of horrifying death toll. In more bad news for Vladimir Putin, Russia has lost another general plus 7 elite SWAT fighters from the feared Dzerhinsky division during their invasion of Ukraine. It says the sour news comes after a top Russian airman warned that his country's forces have suffered losses on a scale that will horrify people when the figure, now a closely guarded secret, is revealed. So, mind you, it's not like, so you can't find it on YouTube, but you can find it on other platforms. You can still see RT. You can still see they actually have a lot of this video out, and it's like, it kind of makes you wonder why why certain things are being hidden. I don't. If you understand why this all is going on, I would say just be discerning of everything that is happening right now. Everything is pushing up and pro, and this is all anti. Just like, I think Putin's a total jack, right? He's a bad guy. But what is going on is fishy. Do your own. Don't listen. My mother-in-law in like 15 minutes just boggled my mind. She watched a Dateline special called All About Putin, and it was just, people watch those kind of 1-hour shows and they are informational, and then they think they have like a whole grasp of the entire situation. What they do is they'll put together something that is well put together, looks really good, sounds really good, and then at the very end they'll say, oh, it's because of this. And then people believe it because everything else was true, and they show all of this stuff and it looks very official, and then they'll throw in there at the very end, it's because he wants to get this and this back together. And you go, well, everything else was there, so they believe it. He very well may want to get the USSR together. But I think that there's something more at risk here. I think that there's something bigger happening. I think that they're obviously wanting to get eyes away from one thing and onto another. Something just disappeared. Something that just a year ago we were all sitting in our houses not allowed to leave. And poof. One day it was just gone. Pretty crazy. Let's get our next caller on. It looks like we have Coal Cracker and calling from Pennsylvania. And then I've got a link that goes along with Coal Cracker's piece here, so let's load that.
And Coal Cracker's live, Adam.
Coal Cracker, live on Marfoogle News. What's going on?
How you doing, Marv?
So what's going on? It's a genius Russian child claims he is from Mars, will save humanity from nuclear destruction. Who is Boriska Kipiranovich? What's up with this, man?
You didn't get to see this yet?
No, I did not.
Basically, if you read, I just wanted to point out in here, it's interesting. You can can read it then, but I just wanted to point out in here that basically he said he was, a Martian race, and that their race, basically it was virtually wiped out thousands of years ago due to nuclear warfare. And this genius boy, they call him, he's 7 foot tall, mind you, but he warned that if humans don't change the situation related to the nuclear power struggle or nuclear, conflict that we could be heading into, then we're going to do the same as what happened in Mars. But not only do I wanted to bring that to attention, it's a neat topic, regardless if it's true or it's not true. It's interesting to note that when you look at the bigger picture here, the Earth, let me see, I don't want to trigger any words, but remember going back, they were talking about Earth's temperature, and if we went up another degree or a half a degree, it could be catastrophic to the whole Earth, to planet Earth. Well, they come to find out, they did a study, and out in West, a lot of the fires that happened, smoke, because of the Coriolis effect, went up in the upper stratosphere and basically decreased the surface temperature a record. It wasn't number one, but it was 12, mind you. And since they've been studying this in the Arctic Circle. So due to the Coriolis effect, so the smoke did that. Now what I'm trying to get at is that these sick individuals that are in office and stuff like that, regardless, they might be looking at it a different picture. Now, yes, we have humanity here, humankind. It could basically wipe out the whole human race. But I think what they're looking at is if they don't save the planet somehow, some way, then there's not going to be a planet to live on. So basically, what they're banging their heads over, and if I can use the nuclear, conflict, all around, if they were to do that, it would cause enough fires that the fires would burn and go up the upper stratosphere. And then it would turn to carbon. And the carbon would then go up even further, block the sun, and create moisture. And it would rain down on the earth and cool it temporarily. Now, this is just a theory that they have, but that's the last straw. So if you look around and look up, if you want the answers, look up, you keep looking up, you'll find the answer. It's true. But if you look around in a whole big picture, you might find what you're looking for, and you might see. It might all make sense. I just stumbled on this, and I've been thinking about it for the past week pretty hard. It does make sense. If they don't save the earth, but now it comes with the Marfoogle, it comes with catastrophic, it could wipe humanity out, but yet if the people already know if there's something, in our solar system, so forth, causing this, the planet is heating up, so forth, they know this. So they're preparing to at least get by until they cool the temperature down on the planet and then sustain life, either not through DNA or artificial, whatever. And if they survive, now go back to the article. If this kid he said he was reborn into the human race, he was reborn, but they're kind of immortals. They only live till they're 35 on Mars. But if you read the article, he states in there that there are still some Martians that live there, even after the nuclear conflict that had happened there. So there's some, he says, states that are here trying to do the same thing he's doing to help humanity from not doing that. But what if Mars was on the same concept as Earth as a whole? You got to cool the temperature down. How do you do it? And it's called nuclear winter. So it's just a thought.
Cold cracker. No, it's fascinating. Again, I'm sure some are saying. By the way, I wouldn't be surprised by absolutely anything at this point because reality is stranger than fiction. But as far as some are looking at the technicalities of that, like carbon, they're wondering how carbon makes moisture or this or that. Either way, just think about it. Just to open your mind a little. What if the Mars that we see through a telescope is actually through a portal, and Mars is us in the future after a nuclear winter? I'm just saying, I know that's not the case, but just open your mind to new ideas, because guess what? The theories that once were considered just absolutely outrageous are now known as reality. So the thing is, what our new generation is all about is just completely squashing any kind of free thought and, crazy ideas. Well, guess what? A crazy idea is everything that we live and call normal now. Nobody thought we would have cell phones with movies playing in our pocket. Even 100 years ago, that was considered you're insane. You're a cuckoo. You're Cocoa Puff. So just think about that. When we're thinking about this stuff now, we think because we're so advanced, yet we're not advanced. We're not as advanced. We've only for the last 20 years have had like actual computers. Okay, I mean, we had computers, but I mean, literally, if you take the card, a birthday card, and open it, and it sings happy birthday to you, the chip inside of that, they say that is stronger than the computer that was in the lunar lander in 1969. Now, you may not, and that's why people doubt that it even happened in 1969 or whatever, because if that chip is more powerful than that computer, how could it land there in 19 whatever, and then we haven't gone back in this many years with the new technology? It doesn't make any sense. It doesn't make people cannot compute that, and I totally understand why. Why with our 50-year-old technology, 60-year-old technology, we were able to go up there. Today, that's in our birthday cards, and we haven't gone up there now with our advanced technology. So I think that anything is possible, Cole Cracker. Anything could be possible.
Oh, without a doubt. I mean, but they have scientists now, actually, because we haven't had a big, nuclear whatever, conflict. We never had that to engage anything like that, but they do have scientists working on it just to tell us that it's going to be catastrophic, to humanity. There's not going to be any trees well, we know this. Like, they don't need scientists to tell us this, but you're right. You're absolutely right. Anything is possible, but in the end, we can all just remember that we get to come back and do it all over again as souls. So if we don't get it right this time, we get to come back again and do it all over until we get it right. So we'll come back. That's why you just have faith. It's true. We have a soul, and they can't take our souls. They might take our physical body. They can't take our soul.
By the way, Stanford.edu. When will fossil fuels run out? What then? They say our world is an economy based on the capitalist system that assumes forever positive growth of GDP. It says that in 30 years, we will be out of gas. Let me go back to here because it actually did the little up, all of them at the same time. Oil will end by 2052, 30 years' time. Gas will end by 2060, 40 years' time, so natural gas. Coal will last until 2090, 70 years' time. Think about this is in one lifetime. Earth's resources will be out. So if you do believe that, and if it just say it's true, it's kind of like no wonder people are trying to get off Earth. Just say you don't go into the whole warming is happening or warming is not, and you're not in this huge thing. If you just go with it and say everything is running out, holy crap, is our planet almost done? Right? Just think about it.
And that's greed. It's all greed, because when Tesla was there, he proved it, and it's free, and it's all greed.
And then, well,
they know.
But by the way, speaking of Tesla, I don't know if you're talking about the original Tesla. Okay, well, the new Elon Musk, the Boxable company, right? He's making these little houses. This is the future, people. If you look up what Boxable is, it is literal houses that come in a box that fold out, and they want everybody to live like this. You've probably heard that Elon Musk has lived in this tiny house. It's not. I think he's I think he cares so much about what people think about him that if somebody says, he's this, he'll show I am not. He doesn't care. His ex-girlfriend Grimes, the gamer, whatever she is, she said that he is like weird. Like she wanted a new mattress. He's got $1 billion, $100 billion, and he wouldn't buy her a new mattress. He said he would offer for somebody to go pick up her mattress from home over buying a new one. And they're making it look like he's so about, the earth and little carbon footprint. But it just so happens that he's like I think he's owning or part owning this Boxable company. So right now for a year, he's doing the biggest advertisement for this company, Boxable. And now there's a 50,000 wait list for it. He's making it cool to live in a tiny shack. And people are like, yeah, this is cool. We want a smaller carbon footprint. A smaller carbon footprint is great. But just realize that what we are going into, the next world, the world that we are going to be in just a few short world, is out of a science fiction movie. Just to show you Boxable houses. So Coal Cracker, I think I don't think you're crazy. I think that it's all possible. Anything is possible at this time.
And ask him, is that these boxes coming before or after the Great Reset? And I would ask Musk, and he'd have to tell the truth. I would say, did you use your own Neuralink on yourself? That's what I would ask him.
Yeah, exactly. Well, Coal Cracker, thank you so much for calling in, and I appreciate you. Thank you, and you have a wonderful day, okay?
Thank you all, the mods, Dex, Sam, everybody, Marf. Peace.
All right, you have a good night. So this is a Boxable house, by the way. This is a Boxable house. It literally comes in a box, or in a box shape, right? And then this folds down. This folds up, and then the roof folds out. It's really crazy. I think it's cool because we do not own a house, and we have family that has property that we could just put it on or we could build it, right? If we had something like this, we could just plop it on our family's property, either buy just a small part of this property, or just put this, buy this outright for $50,000. It's a house. Everything is contained, including the permits, the taxes, the delivering, everything. This is the future, though. They want you to be in a little tiny shack. Everything, they're getting us ready for something else. The mass fatality tracking systems, the rapidly deployable checkpoints. Something has to change. Something is going to change massively. Dex.
Yeah, isn't there an agenda that goes along with that from a large organization that wants to put everybody into small living quarters into big cities?
Small stackable living quarters, by the way, which they are stackable. Dex, do you want to go over to
crazy.
The web only?
Absolutely. So head over to marfooglenews.com and click on the thumbnail for today's show. And if you're on YouTube, just simply open that description and click on the first link. It's called Show Notes. It'll take you right here to the page that is for the show, and you can see the web-only content by scrolling down. It's that big yellow bar. You'll find everything else that's not covered in the show. So lots going on there. This is where stuff that's a little too far to one side. Some of the political stuff goes here. Topics that are just sort of off limits that might be too hot for TV, so to speak. This is where it'll be. So something new going on with July 4th. Not new, but a repeat of last year. find out what's happening there, in specifically at Mount Rushmore. There was this happens quite often. There's always somebody who gets into it on Fox News or one of the pundit shows where they just start going after one another. So there's one of those clips there that's getting the rounds. And then, of course, there's a lot of other interesting things that are being commented on, some stuff about people that are coming into our country and what they're being allowed to do or not allowed to do, and the numbers, and then even relatives of our current administration and what's happening there. So go take a look. There's an entire show's worth of content here. We spend a lot of time gathering all the information we can and what we can share with you, both on live on air, as well as what we have to give to you on our website in a web only format. And that's what this is. So go take a look. If you haven't seen it and it's your first time here, definitely worth looking into. Every day we produce this content and we put it up there for you to find. So head over to marfooglenews.com, click on the thumbnail for today's show, click on the thumbnail for yesterday's show. Any one of our long format shows will have web only content on it. And again, like I said, every one of our shows has on YouTube the show notes link right there in the description. So if you're looking for any of these articles or anything else, it's there. When you're done reading, at the bottom, there's your chance to enter the EMP Shield Contest. Probably about 8 days left, I think, on the entries, which means you can enter 8 more times, because you can enter multiple times in your first entry and you can come back every day. So if you want to win an EMP Shield, this is the place to go. Go to any one of our pages that has this on it and just scroll down to the bottom and enter to win. I know a lot of people say, hey, I wish I could get another one. I can't afford it right now, or I just can't afford one. Well, here's your chance. Try and win one. Andrew does this quite often, periodically throughout the year to help the Foogle fam and help others out. So it's really nice when they do this. So go take advantage of it, please.
Thank you, Dex. Thank you for your service tonight. And everybody, thank you, everybody that popped in. Over 6,500 made it in tonight. I really appreciate each and every one of you that have come in night after night. Thank you so much, Red Pill. Red Pill, thanks for the top-notch news, reporting and opening people's eyes to question everything. Hey, thank you so much for your massive support of supporting independent. Gone Girl, I saw Gone Girl 777 in the house. Thank you so much for your support. Thank you for being at every show. Thank you for your positive, absolutely everything that you do, being positive and pushing other people up. Beautiful You says, thank you guys so much. Love and prayers, and y'all and the mods. Manzanita 79, the winter theory, cooling the planet and ending the warming, was on mainstream a few weeks ago. I've seen everything's going to turn over. Maurice American, thank you so much for subscribing. Welcome to the Foogle fam. And then Rhiannon S says, thank you for all you and Dex and the mods do. It's my birthday. I'm happy to spend it here watching you. Rhiannon, birthday, it's a birthday girl. You're going to get a birthday song. Yellow Brick Road, Daniel's main objective is to capture the truth and prevent it from reaching the consciousness. Yellow Brick Road, what a Wizard of Oz statement that is. Nana of Montana, thank you for your channel. Nana of Montana, geez, thank you for your massive support. I hope that was on purpose. Thank you, and if it's not, make sure to, you can always go through the YouTube system to undo it if that was meant to be $9.99, totally understand. Again, but if it wasn't either way, thank you so much for supporting independent. Sarah Westgate from Canada, thank you so much for sticking around and thank you for supporting tonight from Canada. Susan Donahue, another someone who has been here almost every show, every single night. Thank you so much. Thank you, Susan, for your support. Again, there are some that go above and beyond. You are one of them. Thank you so much. God bless you. Thank you, Adam Dex Mod Squad. You are doing God's work. Thank you, and hashtag Team Humanity, which you didn't fit in there. Baba, thank you. Be Real Beast says, welcome all the new faces here. That is really cool. You thought about using that space to say hello to others. And then Jake Albergati, thank you for subscribing. Everybody that has joined us, thank you. It is now time for the shoutro. It's not an outro. It's not a shout out. It's a shoutro. This is where I say thank you to all the people that matter most. You.
It's my planet, it's yours, it's ours to ruin. Everyone wants to keep doing what they're doing.
Deep Bird 54.
Everybody gonna know. Talking about Morales, I'm gonna bring it back down and I'm callous. Old Phil Billy and the Mrs. Jammer and they simply pony on balance. I guess you were preparedness. The roast 22 and everybody there. Hey. Wants to keep doing what they're doing. It's my planet, it's yours, it's ours to ruin. I found Waldo token on the 420 token in a Terra Halpin. Patty's Day irony, it's just stuck whole soul. Bob White, Jason 78. Everybody on knows Miss Marfoogle and my Y.A.O. Robin Schultz and the Pisces, Regina Pendleton, Chance Paladin. Everyone wants to keep doing what they're doing. Boom, 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 boom. I find Waldo and the Aliyah holding it, sit up there and the go out grilling it, killing it, and the lion of Levi. Caribbean lie, hey me, never lie, whole pack, no be with Rizard, Dave Val, and the Paul Wall on the B-Law. Hey, everybody go down, Rita Susan Donahue, everybody loves you. Everyone wants to keep doing what they're doing. It's my planet, it's yours, it's ours to ruin. Boom, 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 boom.
Me Petra, I'm on C5. Everybody gonna get ya, get ya. Gold cracker on the bear claws, that Janice Dewey, Ananas, Sam, Carolyn, Lee. Not gonna say it now, I'll do it everybody now. Amaze ball with the Andrew Bow and the beat go down and it's also swell. Hey, with the Phil Billy, Simmy Pony, Storm Voice, Shelly Water, and the Pisces, and the Cookie Licious, and the Everybody See. Gunny, aka Michael Corson B. Hey, with the Cody Thrasher. Everybody gonna be down on the pasture, like it's out the pasture. And I did it right down now, White 10-7 in the bar, that Malaspina. Like a Bob Dabalina and a Hello One on B and the April Rose. Scam family and everybody knows.
It's my planet, it's yours, it's ours to ruin. Everyone wants to keep doing what they're doing. Boom, 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 boom. I got the crop duster on the bubble wine and the red filled everybody all is shut down. Hey now and the Sony on the sword down. Oh, I got the white cat and the cabinet. Whoa, man, my nose all stuffed up. Three hookers, no. Hey, with the Tracy Warrior, bring it all down and the hey, destroyer. Miss Marfoogle and the Laguna Berry. Deep state of mind and everything's scary. Everybody on the new down on the Jeremy 77 on the new sound. It's my planet, it's yours, it's ours to ruin. Everyone wants to keep doing what they're doing. Hey, Jay Cavalry on the Gotti on the beautiful you, and the Manson Needle on the 79, and the Morris Shamarcon. Red pill, on the red pill, double red pill, double red pill, double red pill, double red pill. Hey, I want the Manzanita, Morris on the Maricon, and the yellow brick road, talk. Everybody gonna get the dog. With his hair West Gate and it all, with a Craig Whitlock and do it all down there. All they do is talk Bible and no be real peace. And I'm used to and everybody peace with a piece on the side. Not just view on things, everybody know that it's gonna be a sign. Time from above, do it on down, do it on day, and everybody down. Boom, 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 boom.
All right, let's make a new one. Make sure to join us on Marfoogle Jams.